Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. I had to look for a minute because I was wondering if this was Friday the 13th or if there's a full moon. Because anything that could go wrong has pretty much gone wrong today. It, it has just been a very weird day, and I want to go back home and crawl back into bed. Um, but seriously, here we are. I almost canceled. I said, you know what? It, too many frustrating things. I sent the mailer out this morning, um, promoting the new Retro 51, and when I sent it out, you couldn't buy the damn thing, so I had to send a new email out, and I hate doing that. I hate doing it, but um, what are you gonna do? So we do have the new Retro 51 Growth, which is actually a really pretty pen. It's very cool. It's a very limited edition. And less than 700 pieces, like 678 or 673 pieces or something like that. Very small run. I've got some of those left. But yeah, and then just weird stuff. Stuff came in the mail, weird emails, and um, anyway, here we are. YouTube is entertaining themselves here. It looks like we got Russell, Juicy, Drew, Gabriel. Hello, everyone. Feel free to can. Well, early in the year, I said, I was going to take Fridays and possibly Mondays off, and I've kept up with the Mondays pretty decently. But as things get busier, Gary, good morning. As things get busier, I'm inclined. I don't know. Just today, it's just one of those days, right? You get up and nothing's going right. I would try to create a product in the website, and for whatever reason, it wasn't working. And I got sent a pen in the mail for repair, and it was inked. It was inked at the past tense at one point before it was sent, and so there's ink all over the pen. So we're going to clean that up today. What else is new? I just got in, for those that are interested, I just got in some new TWSBI Kais. Those came in the mail literally 10 minutes ago. Kais, a couple other things. Nib units for Vac Minis and Vac 700Rs. Serpentine Bronze are coming on Thursday. I can't believe the number of emails I've gotten from people who have hope you don't add too much to your frustration. No, you're fine. You're fine. Um, uh, Serpentine Bronze are coming on Thursday. So I've had so many people are like, well, where's the Serpentine Bronze? No, Thursday. They're coming on Thursday. They'll be here Thursday. And Pat, just so you know, you are the very first person that's going to get an email. You are the when the emails go out for the back in stock notifications, they're sent out in order of when you signed up. So yours is the absolute first. So my advice is, and this is general advice on how our system works, and when they send those notices out, I have it set up so the number of notices that get sent out is equal to the number of stock I have. So if I have 10 units coming in and there are 15 notifications for that product, only the first 10 go out in the first run. And then an hour later, it counts how much is left and then say, okay, then it sends out the remaining or up to whatever the remaining is. So, but when you get the notice, especially on hot things like that, there will be more. It's just that, my typical experience is about 40%. It's less than half of people who actually sign up for a notification for something actually purchase it when it comes back into stock. So sometimes, if it's a small amount, I just order how many, I order enough for stock and a couple of extras. If it's a large amount, so I don't get stuck with product. I don't order as many as we have notifications because not everybody always buys it. Change your mind, whatever, that's fine. You've been watching Fountain Pen TV episode 68. 68? 68? There's no number in front of that? Is that a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 600 Esterbrook pens. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to there. Although I have a rough idea. I'm going to have to go back and look at that episode. 68. 68, that had to have been like, we did it for over 10 years. Gosh, 2015. I said I owned 100. I owned 100 in like the second year. 600. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. I did at one point. I was very young. No, hey, come on now. Am I just young now? I'm not just very young. I'm just young. I'm not that old. I mean, I've always been follically challenged, but you don't see that unless my head is down or you're taller than me. Or like the one year in DC, my buddy Mike Madison and I were, when Mike was working, Mike used to work our table on occasion at certain shows. He would help work the table, and it was great. It was great fun with Mike. And in DC, we always used to wear, for like 3 years in a row, we bought everybody plaid t-shirts or plaid dress shirts. So we all looked the same. And so it would be hilarious because somebody would come up and go like, well, I talked to the guy, he was kind of balding and he had a plaid shirt on. Well, there's two of us. So I talked to the lady with the plaid shirt. Well, there's two of them because we had Stephanie Young, a good friend of ours, also helping. So all four of us would have plaid, and each year we got a different plaid shirt. Yeah, short sleeve plaid dress shirts. There's a picture of us somewhere, and I think I have two of the three shirts, and Mike does too. Every once in a while, you see Mike with the plaid shirt on, and I think one time I was watching Mike on Twitch, and he was wearing one of their shirts. I'm like, hey, that's a DC plaid shirt. Yeah. So anyway, we're at DC, and Mike and I and Steph and Lisa were manning the table, and somebody, and I think it actually was Janet Wright, our good friend Janet Wright. There used to be a balcony in the hotel above the showroom floor, so you could kind of. It wasn't very easy to find the door, and I never found it. But there's a kind of a back entrance door you could get up onto the second floor balcony, and you could see the whole trading floor, and it was actually pretty cool. And she took a picture from up there, and like Mike's like, you had to hit the one spot because both Mike and I are missing it. No, not flannel shirt. No, these are actually short sleeve dress shirts. Poly cotton. We told the story how I met Lisa bidding on eBay and you each having one of the pens from the DT Rosborough set. Yeah. Still have that set. Kept that, of course. That was just uncanny. And to this day, that particular configuration, forget the imprint, that particular configuration of Doctor's pen from Esterbrook, never seen another one. The only one they made like that, apparently, and it's the one I got, which makes it more special because it wasn't like, usually you see them with the red and the black indicators on the top in the barrel end. So it's not like, it's special without the engraved name. Fashion tips and repair techniques. Yeah. Lisa apologized to me last night that we couldn't go and get that smoking jacket. I kind of laughed. Like, well, what am I going to wear that? I guess I could wear it here. It's kind of chilly here. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, I'm not that old. All right. I felt bad too because Lisa's not feeling well at all today. She went to bed at like 6:30 last night. She was like done. Went into bed. I rode. I got off the bike about 7:30, and she was out. Lights off. I'm old enough for a green smoking jacket. Yeah. And so today she had to come in early, unfortunately, because today's a late day, so it's nice we get to sleep in. We don't start till 9:30. Well, she had to do some software update at the doctor's office, and she had to come in be here at like 8:25. So we had to come in a little bit over an hour early, and she's like, "Well, maybe I'll ask if I can get off early today, since I came in early and I'm not feeling well." I said, "Well, I got bad news for you. I got stuff going on." On the red carpet wearing a celluloid scarf with ebonite accessories. Yeah, there we go. Ebonite. A smoking jacket with your work apron over it. We are going to go. We are going to go. I think Lisa's mildly, comically curious about how this is going to look and how this is going to play out. So I think we're going to go one of these weekends. If she gets better, we might go this weekend. But it's Tuesday. She'll be fine in a couple of days. Sure. Although, yeah, we might go Saturday. Sunday's Pen Club, so we can't do it then. But we might do it Saturday. We'll see. Anyway, all right. That's enough of my rant for today. Doing great. We just got in today. I didn't have enough time to take care of it before the stream, but we got a good chunk of the Herbin 1670 and 1798 inks, which is pretty exciting. Don't forget the Fez hat. I'll see if they got one. I'd be inclined to buy a smoking jacket, but maybe not a Fez hat. So we got the new Herbin inks coming in, and the nib units for Vac 700R and Vac Mini are now in stock. We didn't have those before, so they are. And the Vac Minis are back, so we sold out a couple of those. Anyway, that's enough of the shop talk. Let's take a look at the bench. This is where we left off yesterday. A fedora. Yeah, I got fedoras. I got a couple of them. Half a dozen of them, probably. We got a DuPont that's over here. And we took out some stuff out of the ultrasonic just before we left. Hey, Greg, you think it also rule a monocle? But that's funny that you mention that. My good friend asked me the other day if Lisa's boss, the doctor, could actually fit and have a monocle made. And because I can't believe we're doing this, but we are going to ask and see if he can make if he can do a monocle. So that is actually in the process. I'm not going to do it. But apparently nobody in the United States makes them. Now, that being said, if I think probably the big hurdle is having one. If we had one, you could replace the glass. You'd still have to be measured because it sits closer to the eye than regular glasses. But they can put new lenses in anything as long as they're structurally sound. So if we have a monocle, if we can find a monocle, then we're golden. And I can't believe Hans is missing out on this conversation about the monocle, but maybe he'll come back. I know he's got guests though, so today. Anyway, we got some 51s that were a pain in the you know what yesterday. The 51s, we got to drill those out. We got to clean all the caps. New sack on this guy, thank goodness that got done. And I've got this guy that came in today that leaked all over the place. So this needs a thorough cleaning, and it was apparently very stingy with. Yeah, we're gonna dump this in the ultrasonic right now. I did up some ink samples today, and I promptly dropped. Let's throw that away. Promptly dropped red ink all over the table. That was something fun. All right. I do think our other 51 parts are clean, so we'll take those out. Okay. I'm going to actually switch over to this tray. I cleaned this tray off. Actually, not everything's going to fit on here. Well, let's do this. Let's put these. There. Sadly, this 75 is, I gotta figure something else out with that. All right, and we'll put this guy there. Okay. And we'll try to see if we can get the jewel off of this guy today. I'm going to start with these four here, see if we can get these cleaned up, and maybe we can get them out of the tray. They're cartridge converters, so. Yowza. Love me a good 45. Well, this cap is all boogered up. Hey, Colin. Yeah, first pen you learned to repair? That cap is kind of boogered. The clutch is bad. Dump that in there. So we're going to have to see if we can get this off so we can replace this clutch. One of the fingers has bent back. Boogered is absolutely a technical pen repair term, for sure. Let's see. Spin that out. You have 178. You have 178 Parker 45s. Am I reading that correctly? The Sailor Silent, that's been out for a while. Over a year. It's not new. $178 Parker 45s. There are that many variations? Wow. That's 178 in metal? Ah, come on. Really? Now, you're not talking just flighters. You're talking, you know, the black, turquoise, green, olive green. Oh, not just fountain pens. Okay, okay, that I could see. So, you know, you're talking pencils and ballpoints and things like that. But they're all metal? Oh, silent. Yeah, silent and metal. Yeah. Coronets. Yeah. Yeah. Lady pens. Wow. Boy, I'd love to see a picture of that. That would be neat, huh? Well, I mean, you know, everybody's got 24 hours, the same 24 hours in the day. That's all I'm saying. I mean, yeah, you impressed me. It's not that hard. You have pictures. Wow. I like them, but I don't like them. Well, how should I say? It's not that I don't like them enough to collect them. I got to draw the line somewhere. I got one. One. I literally have one. I mean, I love this turquoise. I probably should get a turquoise someday. Or there's a light blue too, which is kind of nice. But I have an orange. That's my one. I figured if I was going to have 145. You learn penmanship with them? Okay. Yeah, actually, believe it or not, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct, the 45 was the first pen that Susan Worth started using before she started selling and collecting pens, was the Parker 45. I had heard the story a couple times. And so I can't throw these caps in these 51 caps in the ultrasonic because they have blue diamonds in them. If I want that blue diamond to stay in there, I gotta soak them in a cup and then empty them out. All right, let's see if that. You said penmanship to the younger crowd today to have no clue what it is? Yeah. Probably. Back in my day. When you went to college in Wisconsin, you would often check out antique stores and thrift shops, but you don't remember seeing many 45s. I was always hoping to finding Vacumatics at a price you could afford, you know. Mid to late 80s in Eau Claire, much later in Madison. Well, you know, the 80s was like the renaissance of pen collecting. Probably bumped into me. No. Most certainly did not. 80s is when pen collecting really came alive, when pen shows started. Yeah, it's the wrong side of the state. Really need to soak these two caps. I'll deal with that in a minute. This thing, we got to get this open. So we got to heat this up. Get this piece off. Pull the clip off. Or I just replace the cap, but eventually I got to start fixing these things. Repair instead of replace. eBay and Antiques Roadshow changed things so much, yeah. eBay was definitely a game changer, as much as I hate that phrase. All right, Troop. Have a good day. Use your pens. Google has made it harder to find good deals. eBay, Etsy sellers have pens that sit because they're asking a lot of money for an unrestored pen. Yeah, just because you found a sold pen for that much doesn't mean yours will sell for that. Or should, yeah. My favorite is the ones that where they say, "Oh, it looks like this," and it's it's like not even remotely close. It's like they've got a Parker Challenger and they found some other Parker. Found a similar Parker that sold for $1,500. I hate these 45 caps. Clever one scrapped a gold nib and try selling them with replacement steel nibs. It's an awful lot of work. It's one of the first things I do with a pen I don't recognize already. I don't take their word for it, what model they're calling it. Yeah, on eBay, you just never know. Or they give you that disclaimer that, oh, I don't know anything about pens. Never seen this one before. Well, I'm going to put this in the naphtha to soak. We'll let that soak. Let's take this out, see if we can get this out. You see him charging $55 for shipping. You write them and actually say, excuse me, yeah. Yeah, they don't care. Sadly. Because eventually somebody's going to buy it. They get fed up of seeing it listed there and they can't find it somewhere else, so they just pay the exuberant price. Once bought a computer monitor on eBay, paid a really good price, and he charged me a very high price for shipping. I had it out with them, was trying to make money and not have to pay the bill. Yeah, that's what they used to do, and I think they changed the rule on that. I think they caught on. I got the clip spinning now. It's a step in the right direction. I always put a little something under the clip so it doesn't booger up the cap. This is why I hate this. It just takes forever. Now I can get a blade underneath there. Well, that didn't work out like I wanted it to work out. There was a ton of sealant or something in there. Oh, crap. All right, well, we will carry on. So I'm just going to have to heat that out. It's not going to come out, so we're going to heat it to the point where it's just going to burn out. Or soften enough so I can get the tool in there. Sorry, it's easier to do this against my, holding against my chest than it is to do it in front of the camera. All right. So listen up, buckaroos. If you're gonna do this kind of repair, dent repair, you need this tool here, or a tool like this. An intercap arbor. It holds this in place from moving. And you need this one. And this one's probably the best tool out there. This is the Penn Tooling 13732. And this has a spring. This pin is on a spring, which fits technically inside this hole, but right now I've got the stem of the jewel on there, and then you use that to center it to screw this out. Yeah, you probably can use a regular screwdriver. This centers it nice and keeps it so it doesn't strip this easily strippable brass thread. Buy the right tool. This one's a good one. I have another one, but that doesn't have a spring, which almost doesn't matter. But this is kind of how the original was, had a spring in it. So these two, and this is the other important lesson is this is going to happen probably at least 50% of the time, where the jewel is going to just strip off. Only because you're turning it, and I can see here there's like all sorts of crusty crap. You know, people sealed or shellacked or glued or whatever. They glued this bushing in, and then they also glued in the stem of the jewel, and just, you know, it might come out. Your best case scenario is if you unscrew this unit and it comes with the jewel. Then you can soak it easily. You can throw it in the ultrasonic. You know, now what am I going to do with this? I don't know. There's a couple options. You could try just gluing this right to the top. That's really not a great option. Finding a replacement jewel, that's the or an aftermarket jewel. Or what you might have to do, barring that, I'm looking for something while I'm chatting here, is you can get replacements, but they come as sets, so that the jewel fits crusty crap. Yeah, that's absolutely a technical term. Yeah. You just put your first lot of restored pens up in eBay, interested to see how they go. All right, very good. Good luck. Anyway, what was I talking about? I gotta find, looking for a particular tool in my thing here. There it is. So there's really no hope in getting the rest of this stem out, so I can glue it back up to the jewel. So I'm just going to burn it out. You can use a flame, or you can just turn your heat gun on high. This is the one case where that's totally acceptable. Yeah, Gary, put your eBay store name out there for everybody. Let's all buy Gary's stuff. So, and sometimes you'll see a little puff of smoke. Sometimes it just burns up and burns to ash and you don't see anything. Oh, there was a puff of smoke. So now I got... So now it's black. That's not too bad. You get one of these. I don't know what these are called. I know there's a technical name for it, but it holds it in place nice and tight. So there you go. Now it's burned it out. Just going to hold it over for a second. Doesn't take much. This is the one case where you can actually heat it up as pretty much as hot as you want. There we go. Gary's got his eBay name. MOR800710. Lever fillers, second and third tier pens. And I'm getting all the dried and burnt adhesive off. So I may or may not use that again. We'll see. Should we look up what Gary's got? You put Gary on the spot here. See if I can. Let me see if I can do this here. Let's sell out all of this stuff. Let's see. Let's see if I can find him here. I hate eBay search. Let's see. Keywords, item number by seller. That's what we want right there. Only show specific sellers. There we go. Oh, here we go. Oh, hey. I'm not going to show you this stuff so I look at it. I might buy some of it. All right, let's see. Let's see what he got here. Let's let me pull up the eBay. Tab here. Okay. Let's see what we got. I like this one on the top here. Where is it here? Croxley. I love these. They have cool clips. Look at that. And even better, it's got the original lever on it. Nice. That's a nice pen. That's a good price, too. All right, let's see what else we got here. Got some wherevers. Barley Extra. That's a fun material. Brown marble, little hooded nib action. Wherever. What is this one here? Cool material. Oh my goodness, look at that. Nice. Steel nib on it. Supreme. Cool blue. Gary's getting promo. Yeah. Buy all this stuff. Come on, everybody. That Croxley's a really cool pen. That's a great pen. And that's a good price. If you're, if you're in the US, $33 for that, that's a really good price. Let me look at that again. Gold nib. Yeah, somebody needs to buy that. Help Gary out. Buy that Croxley. All right, there we go. I used to have a Croxley like that, except the yeah, I mean, the prices are right. Yeah, the lever broke. The end of the lever with the little feather on it. All right, what are we gonna do here? Where'd it go? There it goes. All right, so are you paying attention here, Juicy? Okay, so you need these two tools. These two plus time and patience, or maybe not, because I probably was not patient enough and my jewel came off. You need these tools to get the cap apart, okay? This one you can get at Pen Tooling. I think you can get an inner cap arbor like this from Pen Tooling. This is a Stuart Hawkinson tool. But Pen Tooling, I'm sure, has a similar one like this. Okay? That just holds the cap in place so it doesn't spin. And then you can use this to unscrew that bushing. All right? Okay, so those two. You need those two. And I got to step away from the camera to get the rest of them. Hang on. There will be multiple steps away from the camera on this exercise. All right. So once you got that out, then this is what you need. And if you're lucky enough to know how to sew, or to have a mother-in-law who does, you make yourself a nice little kit here that has all your parts. So they're in your cart. Yeah, this is, I forget what this is, a $350-ish set of tools. Or this is more because there's more parts here. So I've got arbors here for mandrels. These are mandrels for K-style pencil, T-style. And you don't need all these. 51 demi. So if you have a demi cap, you'll need that one. And then here's one for a 61. I guess I forgot I had one for a 61. I've never used it. I bought these just in case. I don't think I've used any of these, because usually all the caps I work on are standard 51s. And so this is the mandrel I use for standard 51 caps. Okay, but you can't use this yet. So your kit includes, you need a roller, and you need a mandrel, and then you need this part. Now, this is an extra clutch, and this one is used for, if I'm not mistaken, and again, I haven't used it, it's for the 51 demi. So I don't use that very often, so I keep it in this little pouch right here. You've got your Allen wrench, and then this part and this part here are what you use. Now, we're going to use to disassemble the rest of the cap. This, quite simply, goes right on the end of your cap. And then this sits in there. We unscrew this, back this off. You can see this end goes back. And what this does is these little fingers here are going to pull on the clutch, and we're going to pull the clutch out. And you got to line it up correctly, otherwise it won't. And screwing this down tightens the fingers in place. Actually, it causes them to push out, which will then catch on the underside of the bottom of the clutch, so that when we screw this down, which pushes this out, it grabs that end of the clutch and pulls it out. And you can kind of tighten this down until it doesn't move. And now this is pushing against that little piece we put in there. And if we do this right, and we are, you can see the clutch is coming out. And there's our clutch. So unscrew this. And we pull that out. And we're gonna drop that in the ultrasonic. We'll wire brush it if we have to, and we'll clean it. Now, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna take this off, and I'm gonna keep this separately. So this looks nasty. Drop it in the ultrasonic. Okay, so what does that leave us with? There's our little weight. We don't need that anymore. Tuck that back in there. There's our inner cap. And be careful, don't push it in the middle. I push it from the side. This one's going to be a little tough to get out just because it's got such a bad dent. But if you push it in the middle, that's pretty thin down there where those threads are. You could actually poke a hole through it. So you don't want to do that. So I'm going to pop that in the ultrasonic. Okay, and so what are we left with? We're left with just the cap. Okay? That's all there is to it. Actually, I'm just going to put this together for now. For other caps, what's the best inner cap puller available? Well, the best inner cap puller is the old... is this one. This is the one you should get. It's not cheap. You have 5 different size end pieces on here. And this pulls the inner cap. And now that I got this loose, because it was frozen for quite a long time. You pop that out, and then I can switch out any of these other pieces, all right? That one works most of the time, so that kind of stays on there. So this is the old Pensac company inner cap puller. I believe Dale Beebe sells a version of this, and it's about $250 or $300. So I keep all that together. All right, so now that we've got this, the inclination immediately is to start working on this. However, you should not do that. Okay? Let's put this away. I'm going to set my mandrel and my roller aside. Get this out of the way. The first thing you absolutely need to do is you need to make sure that this is spotless. Very clean. We're going to put it in the ultrasonic. And we can see it's not even in round. We've got, let's just do a close-up of this. And if Juicy's heading out, she's going to have to catch this later. Hang on. We got multiple dings, big dents. It's not round. Oh, you're still with us. No, so what first thing you're going to do is you're going to put it in the ultrasonic. Okay? Put it in your ultrasonic and see what you can get out of it. You might be pleasantly surprised. Now, just the condition of that inner cap tells me that we need to go a little bit beyond that. But we'll throw it in there first. You know, I'll probably go in there with a Q-tip. But Microgloss 5 will work really well for you. Even better if I can find my little bit. I have a bit that I put on my Dremel and then put Microgloss on the inside. Is it here? Is it here? There it is. put microgloss on the inside, and then I basically essentially polish the inside. This is probably getting close to replacement time for this guy, but it will probably still work just fine. Now the problem is this is not long enough to get all the way in there, and so it gets this far, and it doesn't go in that end. So I really need to come up with a better solution. But usually most of the ink is in this area. Okay. I'm going to put this in the ultrasonic just for a minute while I set up the vise. And unfortunately, you're probably not going to be able to see this very well. But I'm going to see if I can change the camera angle a little bit. See if I can. I'm afraid to do this because it's going to screw up everything going forward, but all right. Now I'm going to turn this. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. A little hard to see, but I'm going to turn this a little bit towards myself so that when I put my mandrel in, I'm working. I don't want it down this way because I'm just going to slip. So I tilt this up a little bit toward myself. Oops. And this may be too high. I want it tight. You don't want it to move or slip. So this one swivels this way, it swivels back. So it's got a lot of adjustment to it, which I like. All right. And actually, I'm going to use a Q-tip to get some microgloss in there. This is going to be messy. There are probably less messy ways to do this, but whatever works for you. The goal here is to get this clean. Because if you have any dirt You know, or you got chunks or something in here. Yeah, nice fun mess. If you have any dirt or chunks in here, when you start rolling it out, it's going to roll right in, it's going to roll right into your cap. That's why you always want to make sure your mandrel, and usually I clean this after every use or every other use, or if I see it start to look weird. So I've got some microgloss in there. And I accidentally left the cover off my microgloss one weekend, so it's a little bit thicker than it normally is. Oh, I got to check something. Okay. That's some distilled water and shake it to thin. No, it's fine. It still works. I'm not quite done, but I'm going to try to get the old some of this other stuff out of here first. I'm just going to hold it in the ultrasonic for a minute. And you can't be too careful about this. I always spend probably way more time than is necessary trying to make sure that this is clean. It's just like anything else that requires prep work. Are there any Parker caps with rolled lips? Does pulling the clutch damage them? Yeah, sometimes it can. And if so, you just kind of have to, you just roll it back. It's not that hard. You use distilled water in your ultrasonic? Man, you're rich. You don't need to do that unless your water's really, really bad, I guess. I mean, you're just putting dirty parts in there. Okay, first pass is pretty good. But you can still see some marks where the clutch was. And I want to see if I can just maybe get that out a little bit better. That's probably good enough. Ran out of Q-tips. Yeah, so that really pretty much took care of it. So back in the ultrasonic for a little bit. Use smaller containers to hold any cleaning solution and drop them inside the regular tap water in your ultrasonic. Yeah, you can do that. What I have done in the past, I know what Mike Kennedy does a lot, is get these tall shot glasses, and then you fill up, you put it in you put your part in here, and then you do it that way. I was not planning on doing this today, but here we are. Some ultrasonic manufacturers do special brackets for holding lab beakers for that technique. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. All right. So this is nice and clean now. I think you can see the reflection, and I'm rotating it. You can see how nice and clean that is on the inside. All right. I'm also just gonna, don't forget to clean this part too. You don't want any dirt on the outside. All right, so you ready for this? Let's take a real quick look here. That's what it looks like now. Not too bad on that side. It gets but you can't see where the clutch it was anymore. So all that dirt and stuff has been polished off. All right. You have to wonder where that one cap has been through to get all dented like that. Yeah. Put my brush back on my Dremel here. So need that later. All right. So now it's tight because we've got these dents. So just the process of pushing this on. I mean, this is a pretty severe example. And you want it, when you do this, you want to make sure this is on all the way. So I straightened it out just by putting it on the mandrel, but I didn't get it all the way on. And you want to get it all the way to the end. You see how the cap lip is there? And I think there. That's all the way on. Now it's tight. I can't twist it with my fingers. But as we roll it out, it will get looser because it won't be, you know, these are pressing in on this side. And so you make sure your roller is nice and clean. And you're going to roll back and forth. And try not to let it slip. And I'm pushing down. Now, if you've got a really big, deep dent and it's got a crease in it, it's really pretty hard to get that out. You can get it flat, but you really can't, like I'm not going to be able to get this crease out here. So there will be a line on the cap. And try not to let and I'm pushing down as I'm working the cap. Try not to let it slip. Would you consider warming the cap? Not necessary. See, now I can turn it with my fingers. So it means it's getting more in round. And just look at how the light reflects off the cap to know what areas you need to work on. And you got to be careful when you get up to the top because you don't want to slip. You see how much easier that slid back on? What's the risk to any engraved lines or patterns? None, really. I mean, the biggest risk is because that stuff stays there. The biggest risk is if you accidentally slip, you're putting too much pressure down and you slip, and then you can leave kind of a mark. But you see how much easier this turns now? It just, I mean, before I couldn't even get it on. I had to press really hard just to get it all the way down. Gold is easier to work with than steel. If you have a line pattern, it's actually you can hide mistakes easier. When you think you got it, polish it, take it off. Make sure your mandrel's clean. Make sure there's nothing inside. You know, if you start rolling things and you start seeing like little bumps come up from the underside, maybe you got something still in the cap. Now, if you have something where there isn't a mandrel, carefully burnish from the inside. I mean, if you don't have a mandrel, number one, you probably don't have all the equipment to get the cap apart. That's the other problem. You might not have everything you need. So just constantly wipe it down and then rotate it. You mean a pen body or cap that no one has produced a mandrel? Yeah, then you're going to have to. See, now it's getting loose to the point where if I do, I can actually move it. And you want to move back and forth and around the dent. And move your position in the light so you can see like I see a little something, where is it? In the light, there it is, which I couldn't see from my particular perspective. sometimes you got to kind of shift. I mean, now I can spin it. So now you know you're getting to the right point where you can do that. And this is the side here I can tell because there's a crease. So that mark's not coming out, but that will at least allow us to give us a reference point for where the bad area was. So we can see how much improvement there is. Because there's a crease down here too. All right, so let's wipe this down and then let's take a look at it. All right, so this is the side that had all the dents. Because there's a crease right there. And you could spend all day doing this. Thought I saw a little something over here. Keep in mind that there it is. Keep in mind this may never be anything more than a user grade pen. So I mean, if I stop now, whoops, sorry. If I stop now, this is a perfectly acceptable cap. Perfectly acceptable. If I continue to rotate it and look at different perspectives, I can fix a couple more spots. But you have to keep moving the cap and looking at it and letting the light hit it. Yeah, you wouldn't think this was anything more than a well-loved pen. And you have to consider, you know, if you've got some of these marks, you know, these crease marks in here where it came to a sharp end. You know, what's good enough. And I think that's much improved. I'm just going to wipe off and inspect my roller. It looks pretty good. Pull this off. And I do this every time. Always inspect your mandrel. And wipe it off. And you're good to go. All right. So let's get this off. I'm going to adjust this camera back to where it was. All right, so that's, I don't want to say that's all there is to it. You know, because that's like $500 in tools you need to do that. Give or take, plus or minus. And now I got to deal with the jewel. So I either got to find one or take it off of another pen, which is no fun. That was a great demo. Thanks. Yeah. So actually, so let's do this. Let's put the pen back together because there's one thing you need to know, and I know Juicy, you gotta hit the hay here pretty soon. So let's finish this up. I'm making a nice mess over here. Oh, I'm gonna just pull stuff out of the ultrasonic until I find what I'm looking for. I had to pull everything out just to get the one piece I needed. All right, so there's your inner cap. Now it's a little out around from having been out around. So you got that. This didn't really clean up very well, so I'm going to hit it with the wire brush. All right. It's good. Because you're going to use your tool to put this inner cap back in the cap. Probably leery about buy metal cap pens, worried about getting a dent in it. That would be very noticeable. Does a dented cap totally tank the pen value? Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you think about the pen, like I've discussed this before, you think about the pen in thirds. A pen's value is determined in 3 parts. If any of the following 3 parts are damaged, the pen value is reduced by 1/3. Okay? So the 3 parts are the nib, of course, the cap, and everything else. So if a pen's got a nasty cap and it's normally a $200 pen, well, 1/3 of 200 is 66, right? So now you've got a pen that's worth no more than that and probably less. If you've got a real thin wire brush would be ideal to get inside of there. I don't have one handy, but I've got that cleaned out pretty. Kind of scraped it off. So what you're going to do is come back here to this guy. Remember before I said I was just going to leave it apart? Well, I lied. We're going to drop it on the floor first is what I'm going to do. All right, there we go. Push that all the way in. All right, and then there's a slit on one side. And that goes in the cap that way. And so you're just going to use this to push it into place. I use the end of my bench. And I don't have a 51 that's ready to go, but now the clutch is in place. Now, what you have to do then is now is when you come back to your arbor, and you make sure it's all the way up. Now, I'm not going to do this just quite yet. Well, I can do it and I'll take it apart. I really want to polish that up. Get your little piece of, I really need to find another straw. My straw is getting melted here. If you have the 51 cap that has the little lip on it, then you know exactly where you need to put the clip, because it only kind of goes in one way. If you don't, like this one, the gold content rating is on the back. So where did I put? There it is right there. Okay. There's your clip screw bushing. And so now I can screw this back into place. Clip's a little loose. But always keep this little there we go. I didn't quite have it in enough. Yeah, there we go. Keep your straw, and then now it's tight. Because otherwise, what you could do is you can scuff up the cap. I might just change this just a little bit, but I'm probably going to take this clip off to polish it anyway. But I've got a situation where I need to find a jewel for it. So we're just going to leave it. At least that way everything is all together. And then the first thing you do is you put your stuff back together and you put it away, because this is an expensive tool. The last thing you want to do is have something else fall on it or lose it. And now you have a very saleable, once I put a jewel in here, we've got a very saleable cap. Is it perfect? No. Are most 51 caps perfect? No. Also no. But now you've got something, and the other thing is the dented cap may not necessarily always follow the rule of thirds. It may not completely tank the value of the pen, but it may tank the sale, because, not everybody's got $500 worth of tools and the know-how to be able to take it apart to fix it. And your paranoia is going to set in, and you're going to look at this from different angles, and you're going to see dents that you need to take out. But you can also, the beauty of it is, if you have this type where there isn't a distinct place for the clip, you can move it around a little bit. Now you really don't want this gold rating kind of on the side. You don't really want it in the front, but you can move it a little bit. If you need to hide a mark or something, you can do that. But now it will be 110% saleable. I mean, it will be for sure. They won't pass on it because of the cap. The only reason I bought this pen is because I got it super cheap. I bought this lot of pens, I don't know, a month and a half ago, 6 weeks, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. And I knew that was bad, but I knew I could get the dents out provided I get the jewel off. Well, now I got a jewel problem, So, anyway. All right. We'll come back to that guy later. let's we've got the caps here. Let's take a look at this. Maybe this Targa. I'm gonna kind of clean off the barrel here. You know, like this has got a dent in the barrel. Boy, would I love to have a mandrel, but then, you know, I'd also need to be able to get this plastic threaded unit out. Actually, that's a whole inner sleeve. You'd have to take that out. I mean, you know, so, you know, in some cases, it's just not cost effective. Whereas, you know, I mean, if somebody develops the tools to get that out of a Targa, then we're in business. But, you know, that's some serious investment. All right, let's see where we're at with this guy. The complaint is this Targa could not feed ink. All right, well, I can blow through it now, so that's good. So hopefully that was helpful. Does anyone make replacement jewels? There must be a market. Well, so here's the problem. There are a couple of manufacturers of replacement jewels. I have a vendor who makes them. The problem is none of them, absolutely zero of them, look right. They don't look like the original. They don't have this same pearlescence to them. In fact, one of these might be a replacement. That's real. You can almost tell. You know, there's something not quite right about it. Now, all right, we're getting some ink flow through here, which is good. So I've toyed with the idea of selling them under the understanding is that they're just not quite right. But you know, maybe we don't care. Maybe just good enough is better than not at all. Which I realize this sometimes is my. There we go. Well, you can't see that. Sorry. It really is sometimes kind of my motto. Yeah, this guy is good. It'll be good to go. We'll polish her up. It just came in today, so we're just going to clean it up, and then it can go back tomorrow. You're on board with good enough? Yeah, I've looked at it a couple of times now. I'm just kind of hyper picky when it comes to something that I'm going to put my name on. And I want it to be really good. So we'll see. Gonna little polish to this. Funny story, I had I made a 51 for Lisa one year for our anniversary. And I'm trying to think now. I can't remember if it was a Vac or an Arrow. I don't remember. And I rolled the dents out of the cap, and I had a sample replacement jewel from my supplier, and I put it on, and it looked really nice. I mean, you could tell. If you know what you're looking at, you can tell. But it looked real nice. You know, I knew in Lisa's case it was going to be a, it wasn't going to be a museum quality piece. We weren't going to brag about it being original. And I think it was a navy blue Vac, if I'm not mistaken. Years later, we sold the pen. She decided she didn't want it. I didn't really care. If you don't like it, sell it. I don't care. I'm not that emotionally charged on it. Some people are like, oh, what was the anniversary present? Well, it didn't matter. Last year, one of our consigners who we've been working with for a number of years, who has given us north of 400 pens, was apparently the one who bought the pen when we sold it. And so we got it back, which I thought was hilarious because I looked at it and I go, well, this is the pen. Actually, I think it was a gold-filled cap on a blue Vac. Real pretty pen. And I said to Lisa, I said, well, do you remember this pen? She goes, no. I go, yeah. Well, I did this one for you. If you want to, now you can have it back. She declined and we sold it again. I forget who we sold it to. So somebody out there has got Lisa's anniversary 51 Vac with the replacement aftermarket jewel on. So now that I'm in a little better position, I have a number of repair projects that I want to work on. I started out with the Schaefer J-Bar last year, and I've got more parts that I'm going to produce this year. Some that are sorely needed. Because as our pens age, I'm finding certain pens are needing certain things that we didn't need before. And might be worth the investment in new tools and new parts. So I'm hoping 2026 is a good year for pen repair parts in the community. We'll do these caps. A couple of these pens we can see, except for that turquoise. we can test. We might not get any further on these 51s today. That out. There is my Parker. There's my Parker converter. And I need an international. You need someone to make a tool for crimping Esterbrook clips down tighter? Yeah, I've been there. I got one. It doesn't work very well. I've showed you that. Have you seen my tool, Gabrielle? My tool for that job? That's all for you tonight. All right. Great demo. Thank you. Good chat. See you tomorrow. Yeah, thanks a lot. I hope you got something out of it. Even if the only thing you got out of it is you got to buy a whole boatload of tools. But once you get the tools, it's not too bad. No, you haven't seen it? Okay. I've shown this on the stream before, but it was much earlier last year. I'll show it to you real quick. Give me just a minute. So, so this is the tool. Doesn't even fit in the entire length of the screen. I don't have a cap handy, but you can kind of get the idea. Pull this pin out, and you slide this back. You can slide your cap on here. And then once it's in place, you put your pin back in place. And then you push down on this, which in theory is supposed to clamp. It's supposed to crimp that rivet that holds the clip in place in the cap. However, two things. One, and this is actually threaded, so this part comes off. One, this is a little bit too thick to fit like LJ and SJ pens. Apparently, I only tested it on a J. And I made this now. Keep in mind you, I made this close to 20 years ago. Actually, I didn't do any part of the making. This was my idea. I had a friend of mine make it, who I have since contacted, but is retired and is basically unavailable. So I haven't heard back from him. So I haven't seen him in a while. He stopped by the store at one point a while back, but that was a long time ago. So it doesn't fit thinner caps. That's problem number one. And problem number two is it just doesn't do the job good enough, and I don't know what we need to do to fix it. So I think it's the right idea. It just, we're not quite there yet. And I contacted my friend who helped me make it. Thought maybe we could turn this down a little bit. Bunny X, hello. We could turn this down a little bit. We could fit the thinner caps on there. And you got to take the inner cap out, of course. And then we can figure something out in here. Basically, what this is made off is this is made from a press for assembling kit pens. I got this from Penn State Industries. But it doesn't seem to. I don't know if we need to reposition this such that this lever isn't so far up, because it's hard to get a real good, maybe if we slid this back a little bit, we'd have more leverage on this if it were further down and we could press down on it. I don't know. So that's, if I slide it under here, that's what it looks like from the side. I guess it looks like the same on the top, doesn't it? To give you an idea, and that pin is removable to adjust this so you can get the cap out. I mean, it's a heavy-duty piece of kit for sure. It just never really worked very well. On the few pieces we tried it on. I need to polish it up a little bit, but it's been sitting around for quite a while. But that's the tool. You can probably make something just like that, and it will do a bang-up job. But that's what you need, Gabriel. You don't have many nice pens, but you have a Bic Atlantis. I have no idea what a Bic Atlantis is. I hate to say. Doesn't matter. You like what you like. I don't care if it's 10-cent pen or it's $10,000 pen. It's all good. All right, let's see if this thing works, and then I can send this guy home. And then we'll try the DuPont next, and those two. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Beautiful. I love an easy repair. Okay. We'll spin that out in a little bit. This is the one I'm most interested in. Well, I'll be. Isn't that interesting? So, I would have expected this DuPont to fit a standard international. It does not. Does not fit a standard international. It fits a Parker. And I'm unfamiliar with anything other than, DuPont pens made in the last, I don't know, 3-4 years, because that's when I started carrying them. Boy, that's a nice writer. That's nice. Very nice. May have to equip this one with the converter, just. But that nipple is actually quite large. And the international converter did not fit. But it fills properly, so. Made in France. Probably this one will make its way to the Kevin Butler. Hello, your work is awesome. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything, but we all come here and just have a good time, then it's all right, right? Yeah, this one will probably make its way to the podcast on Friday. So, um, polish that up. Actually, I probably could have left the ink in there. Got a couple dings in the barrel. Let's nice writing, DuPont. A little slower on the spin cycle here, just because it's a little bit thinner. It doesn't fit so well into my spinner. I don't want it to fly out. All right. Well, that's good looking, isn't it? Got that great looking DuPont nib. Got a little bit of wabi sabi on it, but I think it really presents well. All right, next up, what do we got here? Let's try this flighter. And this is one of the later model flighters because it's got this metal chassis, metal end on the bottom. Oh, interesting. This is very interesting. I didn't notice this. This is why it pays to look at your stuff sometimes. I've never seen this before, ever. The cap is actually marked made in Spain. Huh. Makes me wonder what the nib says. Maybe we'll take the nib apart, huh? Let's take a look. Probably says made in USA. Not that I care at this point. I've got so much ink on my hands from earlier today. I was doing platinum, the platinum black series, the cassis black, citrus black, forest black. Was doing samples of those. That fill up right? And I forgot that the bottles have, like other platinum bottles, they have that silly little insert in them. Where you tip the bottle upside down to fill the insert so you can fill the pen easier. All right. No markings whatsoever on the nib, except for the Parker logo. Right below the vent hole, you can kind of see it there. That's it. Interesting. That turned into a really cool pen all of a sudden. All right, what's next? We got this black one here. I'm going to polish this up real quick. This has been driving me nuts since I got it. There's a big bunch of schmutz on the barrel there. Got a jet catching tomorrow. All right, Gabriel. Have a good night. The nice thing about 45s is, I mean, you know, there's nothing on the barrel, so you can easily just go ahead and polish. You don't have to worry about imprints or pushing too hard or whatever. They're easy to polish. This one's got a little bite mark on the end, but we could fill it in. We've done that here before. I mean, it's kind of a basic black 45, so I don't know if it's really worth spending the time. Yeah, there's a little kind of a divot there. I might try to clean that up a little bit. Yeah, this is kind of your average 45. Fine nib. Typical minor shrinkage to the hood. Glenn, how you doing? There were 4 or 5. I don't even know how you pronounce that. I've never known how you pronounce it. Elise and ST DuPont in an auction recently. Newell stock, you passed on them. It may have been a mistake. DuPont's always a good bet. always a good bet. I haven't met a DuPont I haven't liked. Lisa's been a fan longer than me. Spin that out. I think they hold their value reasonably well, particularly the vintage. Modern DuPont are quite pricey, but they're beautifully made. Let's make sure this is. I'm a big fan of the current Line D medium. I complained that DuPont. I complained to the U.S. distributor. I said DuPont makes way too many Line D larges. Number one, the Line D larges are getting prohibitively expensive. I mean, they're you're starting around $1,200. But they're also massive. They're heavy. They're large, and for people with smaller hands, the larges are just not they're not good. They're not right. I did that, and then of course they came to me with a like $800 Line D medium, and I had to put my money where my mouth was, and I had to buy them. But uh, that was that. These had pricing in the boxes $200 to $300 range. Yeah, I mean, hey, this is good. I think this is turning and not just my finger slipping on the end here. Maybe it's just my finger. The problem with the 45 cap is you can't really get a grip on it because the clip's in the way. I don't really want to put a nib in there, but and unfortunately this cap doesn't have. Sometimes what you do is you look for an imperfection, you look for a scratch or something. And then you can see whether or not you're actually turning it. This marker doesn't want to leave a mark on the cap. And you can see if you're making any movement. I think it's moving. Not moving much. I'll try a little heat here. You can usually tell because the clip will get loose. Okay, it is moving. So trusty pencil. There we go. So once I push it in, you can actually see it now. There's a gap here. Because I put a little mark right there with my retro, and I can see it move, and I've got a little gap there. Okay, so that's good. Problem is one of those fingers is pushed down into the cap. So I can't really get my pencil in there all the way to keep it nice and tight. I'm going to leave that sitting in naphtha overnight. We're getting somewhere. It's turning, but it's turning with the inner cap. And because I might have to get in there with the pick and pull that finger down, pull it out so I can get something in there that's going to stick. You know, I need a thinner version of this tool to get in there to hold it down in place. So I think this is going to be too. Oh, that fits. That actually fits. Because if it just slips, actually, let's just try it. Let's try that. All right, well, it's moving. And that'll work. Let's let it soak. Drop my gooey cube. Let that sit. So we made progress there. At least it's moving, which is more than I was kind of expecting. And so if we do that, we can find another cap. I probably should just look for another cap, but it's worth trying to fix. I'll have to look for another clutch anyway. We got to sack this guy here, and we can start working on these guys. Let's take this off. So these guys don't need anything. We can be cooking on those right away. So there. All right. Well, that afternoon went by in a jiffy. I don't know what the heck we did. Oh, I guess we rolled that dent out. That took out an hour and a half probably out of the deal, didn't it? Got a couple pens tested, cleaned out. I've got some ink to check in. Urban 1670, 1798 to go on the site. So I'm going to do that now. And I guess that's it. Tomorrow is Wednesday already. Okay, that's cool. But I hope you all have a good evening. Thanks for tuning in. A good afternoon, a good morning, wherever you are in the world. And be kind, be well, and we'll catch you tomorrow, right? Take care, everyone.